The mystery of Flight 19, the day 5 aircraft disappeared. Imagine this. 5 military aircraft take off from Florida on what should have been nothing more than a routine training exercise. The pilots are experienced. The aircraft are fully fueled. The weather is manageable. There is no enemy attack, no battle, no obvious danger. But before the day is over, all 5 aircraft will disappear. And when a rescue aircraft is sent to look for them, it disappears too. No confirmed wreckage, no survivors, no clear explanation. This is the story of Flight 19, one of the most famous aviation mysteries in history. It was December 5, 1945. The Second World War had recently ended, and the United States Navy was conducting routine training exercises. From Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 5 Grumman TBM Avenger aircraft took off with a total of 14 men aboard. Their mission was not supposed to be dangerous. They were experienced military personnel carrying out a familiar training exercise. The aircraft had enough fuel for the mission, and the pilots knew the general area they were expected to operate in. Among them was Lieutenant Charles Taylor, the flight leader. At first, everything appeared normal. The aircraft flew over the Atlantic as planned. Then something changed. Radio communications began coming in from Lieutenant Taylor. Something was wrong. He appeared uncertain about his position. He reported problems with his compass and seemed unable to determine exactly where the formation was. Taylor believed they might be somewhere over the Florida Keys. But there was a problem. He did not know exactly where. The pilots tried to make sense of their position. One of the men reportedly suggested that if they simply flew west, they would eventually reach the Florida mainland. It sounded logical, but Taylor disagreed. He appeared convinced that they were somewhere else. And this disagreement would become one of the most important moments in the entire mystery. As the afternoon continued, the situation became increasingly disturbing. The weather began to deteriorate. Visibility became worse. The sky grew darker, and the pilots seemed increasingly confused about their location. Then came another alarming radio transmission. The pilots were struggling to determine where they were. They were uncertain about their direction. Something seemed completely wrong with their navigation. And then came an even stranger observation. The ocean itself did not look the way they expected it to. Imagine being thousands of feet above the Atlantic Ocean, surrounded by nothing but water and sky, and suddenly realizing that you don't know where you are. Your compass isn't giving you confidence. The weather is getting worse. The daylight is disappearing, and every direction begins to look the same. Then the radio communications became increasingly difficult to understand. And eventually, silence. Flight 19 had vanished. 5 aircraft, 14 men, gone. The Navy immediately became alarmed and launched a rescue operation. A Martin PBM Mariner flying boat carrying 13 men was dispatched to search for the missing aircraft. The rescue crew knew they were entering a dangerous situation, but their mission was simple: find Flight 19. But then something happened that made the mystery even more disturbing. The rescue aircraft disappeared too. 13 more men. Another aircraft. No confirmed wreckage. No survivors. Now the Navy had a much bigger problem. The following day, a massive search operation began. Aircraft and ships were sent across an enormous area of the Atlantic. Hundreds of people became involved. The search continued for days. They looked across the ocean. They searched the suspected flight path. They examined possible locations where the aircraft might have gone down. But the ocean revealed almost nothing. No confirmed wreckage from Flight 19. No survivors. No bodies. And no definitive evidence explaining what had happened. The mystery captured the public imagination. But there was something else that made people even more curious. Flight 19 was not the only disappearance associated with this part of the Atlantic. Years earlier, in 1918, the USS Cyclops disappeared. It was a massive American Navy cargo ship carrying more than 300 people. The vessel was sailing through the Atlantic when communication was lost. The ship never reached its destination. No confirmed wreckage was ever located. No survivors were found. And the fate of the ship remains one of the great maritime mysteries of the United States Navy. Then came more disappearances. In the years that followed, aircraft and ships vanished in or around the region, further feeding speculation. One particularly famous case involved the British South American Airways aircraft Star Tiger, which disappeared in 1948 while flying toward Bermuda. Another aircraft, Star Ariel, disappeared the following year. Again, there was no definitive explanation. As these stories accumulated, people began asking the same question: what was happening in this part of the Atlantic Ocean? Eventually, the region became known as the Bermuda Triangle. The name refers roughly to an area between Bermuda, Florida, and Puerto Rico. But here's something important. The Bermuda Triangle does not have officially agreed-upon boundaries. Different writers and researchers have given different estimates of its size. Some descriptions make it enormous. Others make it considerably smaller. And while the legend has become famous around the world, scientists and historians have offered ordinary explanations for many of the disappearances. severe weather, powerful storms, human navigation errors, mechanical failures, strong ocean currents capable of carrying wreckage far away from the original accident site. And perhaps most importantly, the Atlantic Ocean is enormous. Finding a missing aircraft or ship in thousands of square miles of deep water is incredibly difficult. But even with these explanations, the story of Flight 19 continues to fascinate people. Because at the heart of the mystery is a simple question. How did 5 military aircraft, followed by a rescue aircraft, disappear without leaving enough evidence to tell us exactly what happened? Were the pilots simply lost? Did weather and navigation problems combine to create a tragedy? Did the aircraft run out of fuel before they could return? Or was there something about that region that the pilots simply failed to understand? More than 80 years later, Flight 19 remains one of the most famous unsolved aviation mysteries. But perhaps the most fascinating part of the story isn't what we know. It's what we don't know. 5 aircraft disappeared. A rescue aircraft disappeared. A massive search found no definitive answer. And an ordinary training mission became a legend that would survive for generations. The Bermuda Triangle had entered popular history. But was it really a supernatural mystery? Or was there a perfectly logical explanation hiding beneath the legend? In the next episode, we'll go deeper. We'll examine the evidence, the theories, the mistakes, the weather conditions, and the investigations that followed Flight 19. And perhaps, we may finally separate the facts from the legend. The Bermuda Triangle, mystery, myth, or misunderstood reality. For decades, the Bermuda Triangle has been presented as one of the most mysterious places on Earth. A region of the Atlantic Ocean where ships supposedly vanish without a trace, where aircraft disappear from radar, where compasses allegedly stop working, and where, according to some stories, the laws of nature themselves seem to break down. But where did this terrifying reputation really come from? Some pilots reported strange instrument readings and difficulty determining their exact position. Some sailors claimed they encountered enormous walls of fog or violent weather that made it almost impossible to see beyond their immediate surroundings. And then came the more extraordinary theories. Some religious groups described the region as a possible domain of the devil. Others suggested that strange forces beneath the ocean could open mysterious portals capable of swallowing ships. Some enthusiasts connected the Bermuda Triangle with the legendary lost civilization of Atlantis. Others went even further, suggesting that extraterrestrials from Mars had established a secret military base somewhere beneath the Atlantic Ocean. There were even theories claiming that the Bermuda Triangle was a supernatural meeting point between heaven and hell, or the location where fallen angels supposedly entered the Earth. And as these stories spread through books, television programs, newspapers, and popular culture, the mystery became bigger than the evidence itself. Instead of simply being a dangerous part of the Atlantic Ocean, the Bermuda Triangle gradually became a symbol of the supernatural. But then science began asking a different question. What if there was nothing supernatural happening there at all? The first important fact is that the Bermuda Triangle is not officially recognized as a uniquely dangerous zone by the United States Coast Guard. Thousands upon thousands of ships and aircraft have traveled through the region safely. The area can certainly experience severe weather. Hurricanes, powerful thunderstorms, rough seas, strong winds, and rapidly changing conditions can create serious dangers for ships and aircraft. But these are not supernatural phenomena. And there is another fascinating explanation for why some wreckage may appear to simply disappear. The Atlantic Ocean is enormous. When a vessel sinks, its wreckage does not necessarily remain at the exact location where the disaster occurred. Powerful ocean currents can carry debris considerable distances. So imagine a ship disappearing during a violent storm. Searchers return to the suspected location, but the wreckage is no longer there. Days pass. Nothing is found. To people watching from the outside, it may appear as though the ocean swallowed the ship completely. But the reality could be much less mysterious. The wreckage may simply be somewhere else. And this brings us to perhaps the most famous story connected to the Bermuda Triangle. Flight 19. On December 5, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy Avenger bombers disappeared during a routine training mission over the Atlantic. The flight was commanded by Lieutenant Charles Taylor. During the mission, Taylor reported problems with his navigation and believed that his compasses were not functioning properly. His communications suggested that he was becoming increasingly uncertain about his position. The situation became even more serious because the other aircraft depended heavily on the flight leader's navigation. If the leader became disoriented, the entire formation could become disoriented with him. Eventually, the aircraft ran critically low on fuel. None of the 5 planes returned. And the mystery became even more dramatic when a rescue aircraft sent to search for them also disappeared. That rescue aircraft was a Martin PBM Mariner. The Mariner had developed a reputation for being vulnerable to fuel vapor explosions, and reports from the time suggested that an explosion may have been seen around the period when the aircraft disappeared. Again, there was no need to immediately invoke portals, aliens, Atlantis, or supernatural forces. Mechanical problems, navigation errors, weather, fuel limitations, and the vastness of the ocean could potentially create a tragedy that later generations would interpret as something far more mysterious. And perhaps this is the greatest lesson of the Bermuda Triangle. Sometimes, when we cannot immediately explain what happened, we create an explanation that is bigger than the evidence. A compass becomes a supernatural instrument. A storm becomes a portal. A missing wreck becomes evidence of an underwater civilization. A tragedy becomes proof of extraterrestrial activity. And eventually, the story becomes so popular that people begin remembering the legend more clearly than the facts. The Bermuda Triangle may therefore be less about a mysterious force beneath the ocean, and more about the mysterious way human beings respond to uncertainty. We are naturally fascinated by things we cannot explain, and the darker the mystery becomes, the more powerful the story becomes. So, is the Bermuda Triangle truly a supernatural region where ships and aircraft mysteriously disappear? Or is it simply a vast and sometimes dangerous part of the Atlantic Ocean, where human error, mechanical failure, severe weather, navigation problems, ocean currents, and the sheer size of the sea have combined to create one of the greatest legends of modern times? Perhaps the most frightening thing about the Bermuda Triangle is not what lies beneath the water. Perhaps it is how easily mystery can become mythology. But what do you think? Do you believe there is something genuinely mysterious about the Bermuda Triangle? Or has the world simply turned a collection of tragedies and unanswered questions into a supernatural legend? The mystery remains. And perhaps that is exactly why the Bermuda Triangle continues to fascinate us.